Here's what happened. All right, here's what happened. I'll give you the rundown. We had a good event. We had 2 good events as a team. During the last event, Phony got mad at Frexs a lot. He got mad at Frexs a lot. Phony and Frexs are really close. Don't get me, like, they're really close, like friends. I could tell Phony was upset. So a week goes by, and I'm thinking, like, okay, like, I told him it was his team. Like, I wanted him to be as comfortable as it was as possible, as, like, to have, like, the best team that he could possibly have. So I brought up the possibility of possibly picking up Koiful. I said Koiful was the only person that I think would be worth to try and make a team change for. If they said that about me, I called Phony privately, told him that I want him to be comfortable. If he's not comfortable taking team fights, then I think this is something we could talk about. But I also said it's your call. It's your. I want you to be comfortable with this team. If you want to stick it out with our current roster, I'm 100% okay with it. Made it as very clear as day that, like, I'm okay continuing with our roster. But if you want to talk about having someone else on this team, I think it's okay to have the conversation. I wanted to move to more of a support role because that's my best role competitively. It's been my best role as a Bloodhound, as a Valkyrie, as a Watson. Those are my most successful characters. So I was like, if we picked up someone like Koi, I would absolutely transition into that role. I have success in that role. Koi's the only option. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, if someone brought that up about me, completely fine. And then I think like 1 or 2 days went by or something like that, and I was like, listen, I don't think it's worth it. We shouldn't do that. I think we should just stick it out with our roster, blah, 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 blah. Well, I told Phony this. He fucking goes and tells Frexs instantly that I want to drop him. Doesn't tell me that he told Frexs, and then we get into a team call. When I get back from the trip, I get blindsided. I didn't realize that that was the case. I try to talk it out and say, hey, this is not the situation. I had no idea that he had already told Frexs this. And they said that they don't trust me anymore, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna continue, like, they don't feel like we can work this out and all this other stuff. And I was just like, all right, like, what the fuck? Whatever. Like, it is what it is at this point. So, they thought I was blindsiding them. I didn't think that was the case at all. I was like, I don't know. It was fucking ridiculous in my opinion. So I thought, and the whole time I had gone back on what I had originally said. Phony for 3 days did not tell me that he already told Frexs that I wanted to drop him. So I'm thinking everything's fine. I'm gonna come back, get into a call, and be like, guys, let's turn up. Let's really focus on improving our individual skill and work on our team fighting. Blah blah blah. I get into the call and it's like, oh, by the way, I told him without telling you for 3 days while still talking to you, saying, hey, we should get into a call. The whole time they're fucking scheming behind my back on what they want to do. They don't want to talk to me. Whatever. Like, this is where I think the age gap comes into gigantic play in my eyes, because I'm thinking, like, Koiful is the top free agent in the world, like, of individual players that you would want on your team. If they wanted to replace me with Koiful, I would have been like, I think that's a fair conversation to have. I think that would have been a fair conversation. But I definitely think that it was just a gigantic age gap problem. I tried to work it out with them. They didn't want to work it out. I tried getting Frexs into a phone call about 14 different times is what it felt like. He refused to talk to me. I got completely ghosted by them pretty much, and that's just the end of the story. And then it just couldn't be worked out. And then it was the decision on what's going to happen with the team. So, in my eyes, like, I think I trusted too much, and I think about things like logically, not emotionally, whereas other people might be very emotional. So, I also just think that they were much closer as friends than I was with them. So it just, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Like, the org did try to resource and mediate the situations, but dude, I'm telling you, I could not get Frexs on the phone. He refused to talk to me. Absolutely refused to have any voice conversation with me whatsoever. So I was never able to explain my side of the story properly. It was all from Phony. 3 days passed where they were boiling about the situation. Never got to voice my stuff. And yeah. And then the whole time, Phony's like, it's up to Frexs. It's up to Frexs. It wasn't up to Frexs. I feel like I was just getting bullshitted the whole time. Like, I just felt like, in the end, this was like, it just felt like a scheme to me. But I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have their own side of the story. They can have their own side of the story, whatever it is. Like, I'm sure I left out some stuff, but I'm just trying to like generalize it and put it together. I mean, I literally have text conversations, and this whole thing that came up about people thinking that I was ghosting them is the fakest shit I've ever heard in my life. I could literally show receipts of me sending messages, getting 0 replies. I fucking messaged Phony about buying his mom's cookies and where it could help support. I got no reply. I'm just like, all right, bro, like, fucking ridiculous to me, in my opinion, so. But I personally do not care about like it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna hide the situation. I don't care. I'm gonna talk about how it is, bro. I'm an adult. I can handle things like an adult. I can talk about things like an adult. When it comes to work, I'm here to work. When it comes to everything outside of it, fucking whatever. But when it comes to work, I'm working. I felt like I played really well this last LAN. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was I had no issues playing with Frexs. I genuinely like Frexs a lot. It had nothing to do with his skill or his anything like that. It was what happened event. And the funny thing is, when I was on the phone with Phony, he literally said he had thoughts of leaving the team. He tells me he had thoughts of leaving the team, so I'm bringing this up. And then I'm the bad guy. I don't know. Whatever. I'm fucking over it. It is, like, I'm literally over it. To me, it felt like Phony really never wanted to. I don't think Phony ever really wanted to play with me in the first place. He had his concerns with me in the first place. So to me, it felt like there was a hidden agenda. I don't know if there was a hidden agenda, but it felt like there was a hidden agenda. It absolutely felt like there's a hidden agenda. And then you have the whole Faze situation. It felt like there needed to be a reason for me to not be on the team because Faze was obviously with me. So like, that was like the reason. I am proud of the accomplishments we had as a team. I think it ended too soon, but I'm proud of the accomplishments we had as a team. It's every one of our best placements on LAN as players. So for me to think that like this couldn't be worked out, it's either very immature or they didn't want to continue in the first place. Do you think it would be better to tell them both directly about your ideas about Koiful at the time, or would that be too weird? I mean, here's the thing. If I brought up Koiful in the call with both of them, the same outcome would have happened. The exact same outcome would have happened. Frexs would have felt betrayed, that I didn't think that he was good enough or whatever it was, and he would have said, I don't think we can continue as a team. Phony would have picked Frexs just like he did before, and the exact same thing would have happened. I knew that was the case because no one wants to hear that they're on the chopping block, so that's why I called him privately and said, hey, this is a possible options. I knew I had Faze backing me, so it was an option to make. And if he said outright no, then that was it. But he also at the time said, I agree, Koiful would make us better. So I had no idea that he was gonna go tell Frexs that fucking night, like, that I wanted him dropped, because I just don't think that's how it was. I don't care to hide the truth. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I don't care what they say. I don't care what anyone says about the situation. I know what happened. I know what I feel. It's only gonna be about like that's it. It's everyone's gonna have their own sides of the story. I just wish I just wish that all that time didn't go by before I had any type of like idea, because that felt fucked up. I wasn't just, I don't know, that felt fucked up.